I feel a stirring in my spirit that God's about ready to do something in 2019. And I want to record this not just for the purposes of recording the voice of the Lord for my family, which I encourage you to do, to keep a consolidated record of what God speaks to you and your family. But I believe this is for the church. And in 2019, we're going to see beautiful demonstrations of the hand of God. All the prayers that we've been putting down on paper or sowing through tears, God is going to answer in 2019. And in his time and in his order and in his manner, his ways are higher, his ways are greater. But what he's birthed in you, what he's birthed in us, is divinely birthed, and it will be conceived and it will be delivered by the Holy Spirit. And 2019 will be filled of those moments. Holy Spirit led me to read through a few of my journals from a few years ago. And I began to see that 2019 is the year where we're going to see things from years ago come into full fruition in 2019. 2019 is a year of establishment, and not necessarily building necessarily, but it's establishing. And I feel like the previous years have been years of growth, refining, becoming closer and closer to God's heart and learning his ways. And I believe that everything that we've been learning, there's been so much revelation. The revelation of Jesus, you know, in the 60s with the Jesus movement. And earlier than that, the revelation of the Holy Spirit probably in the Charismatic Reformation in the early 40 or 50s. And then the Jesus movement, I believe, kind of faded out in the 80s, I believe. And then this revelation of God the Father, right? And that we're currently living in even today. But we're about to enter into one of the greatest revelations of history regarding the bride. And the bride of Christ, which is the church of the living God, is going to enter into such a sharp understanding of who she is. And it's not gender specific. It's positional and it's relational, and it is experiential. The bride of Christ is not a woman and it's not a man. It is a position given by God. And we're going to enter into such closeness and such depth of intimacy unlike ever before. And it's going to mobilize the church in such a powerful way that it will be a hand held by the hand of God, hand-in-hand movement, hand-in-hand demonstration of the power and the glory of God. There is a bridal glory that will be birthed from a bridal fire, and there will be great bridal revelation also in 2019 and in the years to come. And you look through the whole Bible, and Revelations culminates at a wedding banquet, and we are being prepared by the Holy Spirit through the process of sanctification as a unblemished, unstained, pure garments bride of Christ for this wedding banquet. I also feel in my spirit that we will be challenged, kind of like the 10 virgins in the book of Matthew. There were 5 that were considered foolish and the other 5 that were not, because they had oil in their lamps. And foolish, in other words, meaning that they have this lamp that produces light, but they really didn't have anything to produce the light with, which would be the oil. And when Jesus came, when the bridegroom came, 5 were ready, 5 weren't. Those who were ready captured the bridal revelation. They were all saved because they were virgins. That's the revelation I've received from the Holy Spirit. But this is not a matter of salvation. This is a matter of experience and depth of what God is bringing to us to live out. And not everyone will. Some will be consumed in ministry. Some will be consumed in different things that God has blessed them with. And I'm talking specifically to the church. But then there will be those that their ministry, their lives, their businesses, their careers, their circle of influence is being blessed by the overflow of the oil that's in their lamp, in their lantern. It is the intimacy, it's the oil of the Holy Spirit, because of their bridal experience and bridal union with God, with Jesus Christ, that will cause everything around them to shine and reveal the light of Jesus Christ. So this is what I hear from the Lord in 2019. I hope it encourages you. I encourage you to go back to your journals and see what God has spoken to you and your family within the previous years. And I believe that we will see God's hand unlike ever before. We will see beautiful miracles. We will be seeing restoration. We will be seeing God establishing the train tracks, if you will, for one of the greatest awakenings in history. And it begins, and it will be seen, but it begins in our hearts when we fully embrace this bridal revelation, this bridal invitation by God, and walking in union and intimacy and a burn for him.